Before I speak to the bill, I really want to commend all the conferees who were part of that process, the Democrats and Republicans, for working together through, as we said, over 100 hours of testimony and through just a painstaking process of going through. And I also want to especially thank and commend the chair, Noreen Evans, for really just pushing us through, keeping her heart in place, but at the same time using her father's drill instructor mentality that she talked about to get us through that process. Where we are today is almost unthinkable. I mean, we have lost as a country $4.3 trillion in wealth. 30% of our wealth is gone. This is we are particularly hard hit in California, and we have to react to that. We can't ignore that. And we're on the fiscal precipice of disaster. If we don't pass a budget, then all of this is meaningless because every program gets cut without a budget. So it is imperative, and we're also in this very difficult situation because we're hamstrung by institutional dysfunction of the two-thirds issue and the initiative process and all sorts of things that create an environment where it's very difficult to get something productive done. But within that context, the Budget Conference Committee met and we put together a package that is balanced. Personally, I would rather balance a little bit more, have a little bit more revenues in there. But it is, at the end of the day, it is something that has, it's not all cuts, but it's really the tax portion of it is only $2 billion. In the scheme of it is very small. It only speaks to the reserves of how big a reserve we're going to have in the package. What we did to come up with this process, we went line by line, I'd say ruthlessly, through the budget, cutting. I wish I could say it was strategic. I mean, I wish I could say it was surgical, but it wasn't. We cut big cuts, and we made them. But the difference is we made them strategically. And we didn't cross what I call the bright red moral lines. We didn't eliminate the social safety net as was proposed by the governor. We didn't eliminate CalWORKs and Healthy Families program, which was literally a proposal before us, which would have made us the only state in the union, the only state in the nation not to have a social safety net, or the only country in the industrialized or the first world not to have a social safety net. We didn't go there. We painstakingly found a way around that so that we could make the hard choices, make the cuts that we needed to do, but we could do it in a moral way. And the other thing that we did is we looked at cost shifting issues and federal match implications, something that was just wholesale ignored in the governor's proposal. And this is very important because, as we know, every action has a reaction. Every cut that we make in certain services like IHSS, you could have an equal reaction in terms of increased nursing home costs. So we went through and made very difficult choices in regard to that. And the federal matching fund, I don't think the federal matching fund gets enough attention because it doesn't just affect the cut side of the equation. I urge my colleagues on the other side of the aisle to also think of it in terms of the revenue side of the equation. I mean, there were proposals, for example, the family planning money. The governor proposed to eliminate that money. 1 minute, Mr. Blumenfield. Okay, that money is leveraged $9 to every $1. We get every $1 state money, we get $9 federal dollars. So it's unthinkable to cut it in terms of just financial sense. But I also want you to think about it in terms of taxes. Because in general, I understand the argument that a tax, when you take $1 out of someone's pocket, it's less efficiently used, let's say, ordinarily in the public sector than in the private sector. But you also have to think about when you take $1 that's going to be leveraged 9 to 1, what is the impact of that on the economy? So when you're thinking about taxes, I also urge you to think about these issues of federal matching and cost shifting, because we thought about those in this process, and we thought about those in terms of the $2 billion in taxes that are there. So that's very important. I know my time's up. One final point, and that is what this vote is really about. This bill is going to pass. We're going to pass it on a majority vote. The question before us is a question of urgency. It's whether or not this bill can go into effect right away. The cuts that are here can go into effect right away, or whether we have to wait 90 days and wait for us to go over that fiscal cliff. So what I'm asking you, and asking all of the colleagues, is to think, even if you're not for everything in this budget, know that it's going to pass, and know that timing-wise, if you vote for it now, we can actually avoid that cliff. Thank you, Madam Speaker.